Hey there, my name's Dr. Jerry Shannon. I'm a faculty member in the Department of Geography and Financial Planning, Housing and Consumer Economics here at University of Georgia. And this is a short video that's a walkthrough of our effort to digitize the 1940 census here in Athens. So if you're watching this video, you've likely already volunteered for this effort, so thank you. This is something that's going to take all hands on deck to get done, but I think it's going to be a really invaluable resource for the community as we go. It tells a lot about the people who lived here, worked here, what their daily lives were like, household types, all these kinds of things, what the communities were like and the forces that shaped them. And so I'm really grateful for everyone who's volunteering to be part of this effort. So I'm going to give just a short overview of this project and then walk you through the process of digitizing these records over time. So to start off with, we are digitizing records from the 1940 census. So every 70 or after 72 years, the U.S. Census makes all data from decennial census or any census public. What that means is that in the year 2012, data from the 1940 census became fully public. In the year 2022, the 1950 data will become fully public, and that means household level data. And so what we're trying to do is take these scans, which largely exist just as images, page images, and digitize them in a way that's public and open, that anyone who wants to can come and take a look at them, and also add some value in terms of being able to map some of these things out or be able to aggregate some of the patterns that we see beyond what's publicly available right now from the 1940 census, which is just county level data. This allows us to get a much more kind of nuanced and fine-grained understanding of what this community was like at that time. So there's a lot to do, though. There's roughly 25,000 people that lived in Athens during that time, and so it'll take a lot of work to enter these one by one into this form. So let's go ahead and jump into what this looks like. So if I minimize myself here, I'm going to put myself down in this corner. If you have not seen this page, if you go to the Community Mapping Lab, so it's communitymappinglab.org, and there's a link there to this page in the 1940 census, which has some background on this and provides some resources for you. The main idea of this process is we're going to look at these pages that look like this and enter them into a Google Sheet that's going to look something like this. That's your main goal here. And we've got some resources to help you do that. So in terms of getting access to the data itself, there are some links to PDFs of these census records listed on the website. And so if that matches the district that you've signed up to do, and you should know that, you could go ahead and just download those PDF files here. They look something like this. You can just open them in a browser, or you can open them in anything that can read a PDF file. You can zoom in, because you'll need to. Some of the cursive here is pretty intense, and then be able to move around this page and see what's listed there. If you prefer, there's also a copy of these records on the National Archives website. So that is this link right here, 1940 Census Archives, getting started. And so if you are on this page and scroll down here, do you know your enumeration district number? I would just choose Georgia, and in this case, we're looking for 29-2 here in Athens. So I'll go ahead and type that in, click on View It, and you'll see here it is right here. And it's that same document that we saw before, only this is the online version of it. I can do the same. You'll notice the quality is not that great until you zoom in a little bit. You might prefer getting the scanned PDF, but this allows you, again, to interact with these online. If you're coming to a Mapathon in person, I'll have printed copies of these, or there'll be printed copies available to you to take a look at as well. But these are some of the main ways to get access to these documents. And again, because of the handwriting issues and the limited scan quality, sometimes it can be hard to make some of these things out, especially things like occupation over here. If it's not intuitively obvious, these are mostly good messenger, truck driver, seamstress, delivery boy. But sometimes it's a little hard. I'm actually not sure what this is. This is maybe a painter, I think, at an auto shop. But sometimes it's not super clear what these things are, and you need to kind of take a closer look, right? So you'll get access to the data in some way. And then it's a matter of doing data entry. So if you go, you should have gotten a link to this Google Sheet, and you'll notice back here on the page overview, all the pages for that sheet should be listed out here. So if there was 40 pages in that PDF, there should be 40 pages here. And you can enter your name here and the streets and addresses that are contained in that document. That's actually over here right on the side. So this was East Doherty Street, this area right here is the streets here, but you'd have to kind of, as you go, mark down what other streets are contained in that data, and that just helps us keep track of where things are at, right? And then you'd find your sheet. So if you were on page 7, you would click on the link here that says page 7, and then you'll see all these headers here. And these basically correspond with the headers that are up here. These are a little hard to read. If you go back to this website, there is the description from the National Archives here, and this is actually a really helpful tool. It tells you here's what's in each of those. So column 1 is street, avenue, road, etc. That's this, street, avenue, road, etc. And it goes on from there, and you've got the numbers here, so you can see what the text was if you want to see what that looks like. We also have a code book available on the website. So if you see here our code book and guide for data entry and click on that, that'll take you to a Google document that's got the same description of all the different variables and also the variable names. So street on here, boom, right here, and you'll see the line and entered by, I'll talk about that in a second, but street on here corresponds with street right there, right? Household number here, HHN, corresponds with, I've got this open twice, corresponds with, let me find my guidebook, or my code book, HHN num corresponds with number 3, right here, number of household and order of visitation, right? And so you've got these links to the different variables, and you can see what each of those is. Some of them we want to code in very specific ways. So for race, these are the categories that were used for race in the 1940 census. And you'll see those actually listed as drop-down options here. So it'll want you to enter in one of those codes just to make sure that the data all look the same way once we're done with it. So at this point, it's just literally a matter of going through line by line and looking at each of these lines and typing it in. So again, the family name here might be a little, do your best to kind of make sense of what those names are, and you type it in here and then go through. This is sex, so male, color or race, W would be white, age is 61, etc., etc. And I actually think this is the most rewarding part of the process in some ways, because you get a real sense of like the range of people that lived in town and the kinds of things that people were doing. One other quick thing to note, there are some things that are not repeated for every item in the household. So if you look over here in particular, the household level information, like the house number, whether they own or rent, what the rent or value of the home is, all those things aren't repeated, nor is the last name. If it's not there, but we would like you to repeat them because these will eventually become individual records in terms of searching. And so we want to make sure that that information is available for every individual in the household, right? So once you've done that and entered in all that information and you find a process that works for you, I think 2 screens works better than 1. You can also go back, and also point to the codes listed here. You go back here, and then there's another section of this document, and you'll mark it as complete in columns F and G that says checked by and any comments. And you can put comments there, or we're looking for people to validate this. So if you see that somebody has entered in information on a page and it's marked as complete, we'd also love you to go back and just double check their work. Make sure that it looks like everything looks like it's supposed to look like, all the variables fit the right format, all those household level data are copied down, all those kinds of things. Go in and take a look at it, and once you verify that that all looks correct, check it against here, do some spot checks. You don't have to check every single thing, but just take a look and make sure that it all looks like it's lining up and that it seems to fit. Then you just go ahead and sign your name off here saying you've double checked that work, and that's just a quality assurance issue. When this is done, we're going to pull all these data together and geocode them, meaning be able to put them on a map. We'll be able to do some aggregation of things like occupation and stuff over time. And again, I think this will be a really great resource for folks who are interested in the stories and the lives that shaped Athens to be the community that it is today, who want to understand the kinds of social forces that shaped the landscape that those of us who live here inhabit. So thanks again for all your help, and please do get in touch if you have any questions about this process. Thanks so much.